Hey everybody, so November was a very, very weird reading month for me, but I have just started a new stack of amazing books and I thought I would tell you all about them. So let's get ready for another currently reading. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. Winter / late fall has settled into Northern California. It's cold and wet and perfect reading weather. Life has been a bit all over the place. I'm transitioning to a new job, leaving a job, going into a job. So I have been very, very busy, a lot of work actually. But I have been reading. I will tell you all about November in a few videos, but I thought today I would share with you a stack of books that I've started that I'm really enjoying, intrigued by, and want to make sure that they are on your TBR. So as always, get out your pen, your paper, your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore. I think all of them are out but one, so you can pre-order that one. And yeah, or your library user, get them from your library, or if you want to ask them to get them before they're out so that you can be first in line, that is always excellent. And remember, it's the holiday time, so those independent bookstores, they get a lot of their revenue during this time. So let's support them as best we can. So the first book that I want to tell you about is The Shards by Bret, Easton, Ellis. This is out from Vintage in paperback. So I want to say thank you to Vintage for sending me this copy. I have not read a lot of Bret Easton Ellis. I think I've read American Psycho, and that is just about it. But this book weirdly reminds me of The Secret History by Donna Tartt in the way that it was sort of spoken about. So I thought, you know what? It sounds interesting. I'll give it a go. And goodness gracious, did it grab me from page one. So the narrator of the book so far is a fictional version of Bret. He is a writer, and he is talking to me, the reader, about an event that happened when he was at the tail end of being a student at a preppy, very well thought of boarding school. Something happened, and he has sort of like locked it away. And the really interesting thing about the start of the book is that he's talking about how he is a writer and he's written all of this stuff. And he started a book about this event, but had to keep putting it away. Like he just wasn't ready to tackle that trauma. And now he's finally gotten there. The book is very densely written. I don't remember much about it, but American Psycho, it has been quite some time since I've read it. But it is very like lyrical. Like the writing is rather beautiful, but also a little bit aggressive in a way that is really, really intriguing. So I'm sure most of you, or maybe some of you, have read other books by Bret Easton Ellis, and you can tell me whether or not this is sort of in the same vein. But right now I'm sort of learning about the relationships. There's like this hint of this one character who came to the school that Bret becomes obsessed with, and things start to happen. And then from the back of the book, I understand that there's like a serial killer aspect to this as well, that is sort of taunting Bret and his friends groups while they're in high school, and all of it's going to come together in some sort of event that was so traumatic that the character has tried to shut it off for a long time. So if that sounds interesting to you, it is. I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of creeped out and totally wanting to turn the pages. So that is The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. Okay, next is a book by an author that needs no introduction, but that is Day by Michael Cunningham, who won the Pulitzer for The Hours, which I absolutely loved. I have read another book by Michael Cunningham. I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but my friend Ryan has read a number of his books and is a huge fan. So when his new novel came out, and Random House so kindly sent me this copy with this beautiful journal, actually, I was like, I've got to start reading it. And my goodness. One, let's just start with a moment that Michael Cunningham's writing is gorgeous. Like, just from the first page, I was totally absorbed. I actually read it 3 times because I was just totally blown away by the lyricism of it and just the beauty of the language. But what we have going on in this book is we have a husband and wife that have 2 children, and the husband and wife are sort of separate, like they're sort of distance is starting to come between them in their relationship. And in their house, the wife's brother, Robbie, lives at the very top floor, and he has been asked to move out. Now, the book sort of indicates in the blurb that both the sister is sort of obsessed with her brother, and her husband in some way may be in love with the brother as well. And there's this like tension in the relationships, but Robbie's being asked to leave. And in order for Robbie to leave, sort of everything's going to go aside, right? That's going to end up happening. Now, Robbie creates and facilitates a Instagram account for a person, for a man he has made up entirely, and is sort of living vicariously through what he puts onto the internet about this person. The book goes through 3 years, 2019, 2020, the start of COVID happens and things start to happen. The pandemic becomes a factor. Robbie gets stuck in Iceland. The family is stuck, together, and the husband and wife are really just sort of communicating through veiled threats. And then we're 1 year after that in 2021, and everything else is going to come together. The children play a big role in it. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I am obsessed because I think the book is so beautifully written. I'm flying through the pages. So that's Day by Michael Cunningham, and it's out now from Random House. The one book that isn't out yet and is actually not coming out until March of 2024 that I'm currently reading is Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. This is out from Knopf, and it comes out again in March of 2024. Now, just a reminder, if you are one of the few people that don't know who Tommy Orange is, his debut novel, There, was shortlisted for the Pulitzer, longlisted for the National Book Award. It was a sensation when it came out. I actually met him at Book Expo in New York City for a brief minute in line to get a copy of his book and got it signed. It's somewhere up here in my thing. I liked There. I didn't love it as much of it as everyone else did. I struggle with books that have a lot of hype. You know this about me if you watch. But this book, Wandering Stars, which I have just started, I'm not very far in, I am blown away so far. So what I know about it is it focuses on the legacies of the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864, which was a horrific massacre of a group of Indian, I think they were Cheyenne, if I'm not mistaken, and sort of the legacy of that into these schools that were created, the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, where children were taken from Indian families and put into these schools and treated terribly. And then there's one part of it that says through the aftermath of the Orville Red Feathers shooting. I haven't quite gotten there. What I do love about a Tommy Orange novel is that I learned so much about the Native Indigenous people's history here in America that I'm slightly aware of, but I don't know the details. He does a fantastic job of interweaving the history into his narrative. The first part of this book is just, my heart was like beating. It was like so powerful. And I'm obsessed. So I am diving in, totally loving it. That's Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange, out from Knopf. And again, it comes out in March of 2024. Support your authors, pre-order their books if it sounds amazing. Last but not least, I am currently reading, I had to go a little bit, so I read a ton of fantasy in November. I'll talk about it later. But my friend Paul always talks to me about Margaret Wells' Murderbot series, and I have had the first one on my shelf for forever. So I decided to finally read All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is the first in the Murderbot Diaries. I think the 7th book just came out now. I will say it is a story of a robot whose main, well, I'm not sure she's a robot now that I've started the book, but let's say she is intended to basically defend and kill on behalf of whoever hires her, and she has really no connection. But we find out in the first few pages that she's sort of overridden her programming, and she's just sort of becoming obsessed with pop culture and TV and all that, and then stuff happens. I'm not very far in this one. I'm probably like on chapter 3, so all I know is that people are obsessed with the Murderbot Diaries. No one ever says anything bad about them. I think it won Novella of the Year from the Hugos, and I am really enjoying it. It's one of those books that I think if I didn't make myself go from book to book to book when I'm reading, I would probably finish it in less than a day. But that's Martha Wells' All Systems Red, book number 1 in the Murderbot series out from Tor. So that is what I'm reading right now. That is the stack of books. I'll hold it up right here for you. Really different books, all of them very different from one another, but I am really, really enjoying them. I am reading both the Shards, well, not both, 3 of them, the Shards of Wandering Stars and Day have some of the best writing that I've read all year, so that's really exciting. And Martha Wells' book is just taking me on a ride already, and I'm just like, woo, I need to know where it goes. So, as always, if you are a term subscriber, I couldn't do this without you. Thank you so very, very much. If you are new to my channel, I hope you subscribe, hit the button, and come to see when I talk about books. Let me tell you, I'm always reading, maybe not always putting up videos, but they come, I promise. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everybody.